Before you were born, evolution was already running an experiment. It was testing whether a mind built entirely without guilt, a system stripped of empathy, conscience, and limitation, could dominate the human hierarchy. The results came back a long time ago. It worked. Psychology groups 3 profiles under one name, the Dark Triad. You've been in a room with all 3. One might be running code in your relationships or your office right now. They don't hide, they charm. They perform empathy with technical precision. Today, we decode the architecture of the 3 variants, not to frighten you, but to equip you. The most dangerous code is the one you don't know is running. The operating system, slow life versus fast life. Think of your mind as an OS. Most of us run the slow life protocol, empathy, fairness, and guilt loops designed for long-term cooperation. It costs you short-term wins, but it allows civilization to exist. Now, imagine a system with those firewalls removed. No guilt processing, no emotional overhead. Just one directive, win. This is predatory code, and it manifests in 3 variants. Variant 1, the narcissist. The narcissist's first impression is magnetic. They possess a certainty that feels gravitational, but beneath the dominance is a corrupted core file, a foundational belief of inadequacy. To survive, the system builds a workaround, a constructed self, grandiose, entitled, and irreplaceable. If you point out a boundary or a mistake, the system treats your reality as a virus. They don't update, they deflect and counterattack. You exist to provide fuel, admiration, and status. The moment your yield drops, so does their interest. It's not cruelty, it's an architectural limitation. The critical structural flaw is this: a constructed self can never admit error. Because to admit error would mean acknowledging a gap between the projected self and the real one, and for a system this fragile, that gap is the abyss. So when confronted with evidence of fault, criticism, contradiction, accountability, the narcissist does not update. They deflect, deny, and counterattack. Not from strategy, automatically. The defense is structural. Variant 2, the Machiavellian. The Machiavellian is not at war with anything. They are playing chess, and every human being in their environment is a piece on the board assessed for utility, positioned for maximum strategic value, and replaced or discarded when the position changes. The Machiavellian mind operates from a premise that is cold, empirically held, and rarely stated aloud. People are instruments. Loyalty is a temporary alliance serving mutual interest. Trust is a narrative you construct in someone's mind to make them more predictable. Friendship is access, and relationships are investments with expected returns. This is not bitterness born from betrayal. It is a considered worldview, executed with patience and precision. The Machiavellian can spend 6 months building genuine seeming warmth with someone specifically to leverage them once. They will listen carefully, not because they care about what you are saying, but because information is currency and you are currently minting it freely. What makes the Machiavellian uniquely difficult to detect is the absence of any visible tell. There is no narcissistic display, no obvious coldness, no psychopathic disconnection. There is a pleasant, composed, strategically competent individual who appears to want nothing from you. The extraction is already underway. You simply have not registered it yet. Variant 3, the psychopath. The psychopath is the final variant, and structurally, the most extreme. Psychopathy is not performance. It is not a learned strategy or a coping mechanism built over disappointment. At the neurological level, the psychopath's brain processes threat, fear, and the observed suffering of others in measurably different ways than a standard human operating system. This is replicated consistently in brain imaging research. It is not a metaphor. It is a hardware difference. The fear loop is absent or severely attenuated. This means they can hold positions, take risks, and execute actions that would physiologically incapacitate most people with steady hands and a steady pulse. The remorse circuit does not fire after harm is caused. The event registers, closes, and the system moves forward. No residue, no weight. They are not disturbed. They are, and this is the word that matters, unburdened. That unburdening produces specific capabilities. They can hold a negotiating position well past the point where any empathy-equipped person would concede because the other person's discomfort doesn't register as data requiring response. They can maintain warmth and eye contact while internally running no emotional process whatsoever. They can look directly at you and say whatever the situation requires, not because they are lying in the way most people lie, with the friction of conscience, but because the output they select simply is whatever produces the optimal result. The fast life protocol, why this code survived evolution. These aren't mutations, they are fast life strategies. While the slow life protocol builds for the future, the fast life protocol maximizes immediate output. This is why these traits appear disproportionately in high-stakes environments, like finance and politics. From a distance, low empathy overhead and fearlessness look exactly like leadership. The environment selects for the very traits that make these individuals dangerous in a home or a team. Detection requires watching the pattern, not the moment. For the narcissist, watch how they handle accountability over time. For the Machiavellian, watch how they treat people who can do nothing for them. For the psychopath, trust the unease you feel when their emotions don't match the gravity of the event. Your empathy is not a weakness, it is the infrastructure of everything worth building. The fast life protocol wins the battle, but the slow life protocol builds the world. The Dark Triad isn't a villain in a story, it's a strategy wearing a human face. Now you see the architecture. If this upgraded your threat detection, subscribe. We're going deeper into how these profiles operate in your closest relationships. Keep your firewall strong.